Hey guys, take two. Michael Califf, author of A Very Broken System, and now part-time podcaster and software developer who had no choice because of the harassment I got for being literally anywhere near, not even getting in it, just being asked to be a witness against a G4S prison officer who you'd have to ask the Money, I think his name was Money, you'd have to ask them, and the Asafaris, who all seemed to land a plum job from G4S Port Phillip, even while it was mid-investigation. You'd have to ask them how they landed those plum jobs in the GEO and made such a meal of things. You'd also have to ask them how they chose to employ, I kid you not, the prison officer or corrections officer who got themselves in trouble of their own at the hurriedly opened GEO run Ravenhall Correctional. Disgustingly, very disgustingly, extra disgustingly, because that was technically the prison that was Daniel Andrews was going to help prevent any further Jill Maher stories. So the fact that it was all just a big charade is entirely disgusting in my eyes. Anyhow, so during that, the GEO staff, the Asafaris, the Money, people like that, decided to employ, I kid you not, a ex-commercial chef as a prison unit supervisor. I kid you not. Not as a correctional officer, not one of the many clinicians, which is all for nothing, because what's the point of teaching people all these fancy counselling and therapy if you're just going to release them to homelessness anyway? It was just bonkers. Anyway, so here is this. During that time, I get exposed to the out and out corruption that truly exists. Often not even corruption, just often utter incompetence that exists. Incompetence, mismanagement that turns into corruption to cover so that they don't lose their jobs. And that's literally, for the most part, that's what I'd say 90% of Victoria's government departments are set up like. So you have all these lower ranked officers and staff getting literally thrown under the bus, while those in the higher offices are all just protecting their jobs. The reason I've got this topic is because if you've missed it, earlier in the week there was a report of the new Chief Police Commissioner ended up lying, as if we couldn't tell that, about his penchant for flying around like Snoop Dogg in a bloody police helicopter. The fact that he got on Tom Elliott's and just outwardly lied about how he was of good repute and great integrity, to me personally, from my experience, that just demonstrates what I already know. You know how many times I've seen higher ranking members of Victoria Police take the stand, swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God, and then just go about utterly lying through their teeth to deny a bail app or whatnot. Anyway, I won't go down that path for now, but for me it's no, I know that often they get corrupted by the job, but let's just stick to the topic at hand, and that is, should those in the higher offices, not just of Victoria Police, of Victoria's law and order system, should they be in fear for their jobs? Well, let's just throw this little doozy out there once more. We've set repeatedly, year in, year out, for the last few years that I've been noticing, the worst crime stats. Most recently reported as the worst crime stats since 1992. Now that is not because 92 or 91 was a worse year. No sirree. That was just because they didn't have any record keeping. It's actually the worst crime statistics since the new style of record keeping. So it's not even like, oh yeah, it's the worst. 91 was a doozy, but since then, no mate, it's the worst crime stats ever. Victoria has just set the worst crime statistics ever. Read it like that and know that as a fact. Anyhow, so during that, with the amount also combined into that, the resources that went into Operation Michael Caleb and the way those resources were spent were, which we still have government resources going into stalking me and, you know, trying to intimidate me and, oh gee, you're still being watched. Who cares? Like, that's how ridiculous the Victorian state government is. Like, who cares? Anyway, so we have these resources being wasted, squandered by the likes of the magistrate papases. The mainstream media couldn't help themselves but get involved and get manipulated, and then would rather go after Mick Gatto. God only knows why they don't go after the corruption. They sit there and complain tooth and nail about this government. Well, there you go. You could bury this government, mainstream media. You know it for a fact. The only reason I can suggest the mainstream media don't want to do it is because it would be turned back on them. Hang on, but you did X, Y, and Z. That's the only reason I can see. Otherwise, the mainstream media would be picking up the fact that toddlers have been used in the most disgusting of disgusting ways. They'd be picking up the fact that their friends at the Melbourne Drug Court, the Papases, that's right, Nick Papas's sister, allowed for the misuse of weaponised sex offences to infiltrate, even allowed for hidden cameras. How disgusting is this? Even allowed for hidden cameras to be installed. You're not allowed to have cameras in a urine testing booth. So picture, go to the Melbourne Drug Court. I challenge you. Go there now. You could walk in there any day of the week on a weekday, walk into the Melbourne Drug Court and go and just walk straight in high, just boom, boom, and walk straight in the testing booth. Oops, sorry, wrong place. And walk out, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a cabinet with a lock and key there, right above where you go to the toilet. What for? I'll tell you what for. So they can put hidden cameras in there in case anybody dares like try and cheat their little system, which you might think, yeah, well and good, but not well and good. I'll tell you why not well and good. Because if they're prepared to do that, aside the creepiness that I know exists in the Melbourne Drug Court office under the magistrate Papas's eyes, I know what they did. They traffic women to get them to have sex with people and then try and ridicule the participants. I've experienced it. It's just sickening. Or you've got these big overweight girls ogling you. You turn up to and there's this big overweight corrections worker ogling you the morning after you've had sex. And at the time you don't know it, but you go into the drug court and there's like this big, I know, gee, you did that. Literally, that happened to me at the Melbourne Drug Court. And they think somehow, oh, it's okay, you know what they used to say to me? Oh, we've seen it all before. Like sarcastically, like it's not the first time we've done this to you. I promise you. That's the type of toxicity that exists in the government law and order system. Now you tell me if people in the higher offices of Victoria's law and order system should be concerned about their jobs. Because when you can combine all that with child services having the big issues, with children on child services getting pedophiled, with children on child services killing their workers, with prison staff morale depleted, with police record low depleted, with brave police officers getting shot allegedly with the Porepunkah incident, which is clearly, believe me, that's not how you execute a search warrant. Okay? A police officer never ever enters a premises ever feet first through a bloody window. Okay? Let me just put that out there. Sorry, with all the respect to the lovely officers, it's not your fault. It's a Victoria Police leadership problem. Now you tell me, should people in Victoria Police's higher offices be concerned for their jobs? While people are starving, going hungry, homelessness is increased through the roof, people like the Isla Bells are dying at increasing levels, migrant children like those beautiful African boys, 12-year-old hacked to death, are dying at increasing levels. You tell me if some geezer, some little poppet, up there in the higher offices of Corrections Victoria, Odyssey House, Melbourne Drug Court, or Victoria Police should be worried about their jobs. What do you think? I think I know the answer to that, and I think Victorians know the answer to that. They're just all, the average person just goes, yeah. But you know who should be doing something about it? Is the mainstream media. Mainstream media, I know you're listening. It's on you. Speak soon, guys.